So you imagine Gideon is like, okay, all right, we're going to do this. Let's make sure we're at full strength. Nobody stays behind. Every man armed for battle. We're going to do this. God has told me that we're going to do it. So we got to have everybody ready for battle. In chapter 7, it says, early in the morning, Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and all his men camped at the spring of Harod. The camp of Midian was north of them in the valley near the hill of Moreh. And the Lord said to Gideon, check this out. You have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into their hands, or Israel would boast against me and say, my own strength has saved me. Now announce to the army, anyone who trembles with fear may turn back and leave Mount Gilead. So 22,000 men left, while 10,000 remained. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine a military commander saying, hey, look, anybody who's scared can go home. Bye. Over 2/3. Like, yeah, that's me. The rest of them were just crazy, but 10,000 remained. You can imagine as Gideon is seeing these guys leave, like, whoa, wait, hold on. What? And finally he's left with less than 1/3 of his original fighting force. And so they go, and the Lord said to Gideon, there's still too many men. And so he gives another test, in just seeing how they drink water. And that ends up dwindling this thing down to 300 men. 300 out of over 30,000 that he had. And so God is saying, no. You got way too many. You got way too many for me to be the one who is victorious in this. And so we go on over. Gideon gives the marching orders, tells what's going to happen. He's going to blow the trumpet. They're going to shout for the Lord and for Gideon. And then verse 22, when the 300 trumpets sounded, the Lord caused the men throughout the camp to turn on each other with their swords, and the army fled. I mean, God is working this thing out for the Israelites. And the conclusion of it all is found over in chapter 8, verse 28. Thus Midian was subdued before the Israelites and did not raise its head again. During Gideon's lifetime, the land had peace 40 years. I'm too weak, Gideon says, but God is strong. And what I want us to understand this morning, first of all, is what God wants to accomplish in and through you is not limited by your ability. What God wants to accomplish in and through you is not limited by your ability. We see this very thing played out in so many different areas. You had Moses, we talked about last week. Later on, when Israel was demanding a king and God gave them a king, there was Saul was the first king anointed, and Saul is described as being a head taller than everybody else, and so he kind of looks like a king. But when Samuel, who is a prophet of the Lord, when Samuel goes to Saul and says that he's going to be the king, Saul kind of has a similar response to Gideon. Wait, my tribe is the smallest, and my clan, my family, we're the smallest in the tribe, and later on, Saul is hiding, trying to avoid being anointed king and all that, but God anoints him. Then when Saul messes up, there's another man anointed king, that is David. But when Samuel again goes to the home that God has told him to go to, where the new king lives, he goes there and he knows it's going to be a son of Jesse. Well, Jesse's got all his sons out there, and Samuel looks at Eliab, the oldest, who is perhaps the tallest, and so thinking about the other king, King Saul, he goes, that must be the one right there. That's the king. He looks like a king. And the Lord tells Samuel, don't consider his height or his appearance. I've rejected him. The Lord doesn't look at things man looks at. Man looks at outward appearance. The Lord looks at the heart. And he's like, all these sons of Jesse are out there, And the Lord goes, nope, not him, not him, not him, not him, not him. Not him, not him, not him. You know, and Samuel goes, ask Jesse, you got any more sons? None of these are it. Oh, yeah, well, there's David, the little one, the runt of the litter. He's out keeping the sheep. And he ends up being the one. You see, God says, I don't want the one who says, I can do it on my own. God doesn't want the one who says, yes, by my strength, by my power, I can do this. God wants the one who recognizes that if it's going to get done, it's got to be done with God. So that's that first point. What God wants to accomplish in and through you is not limited by your ability. What God wants to do in your life, whether that's something that He has called you to, something you feel like the Lord has laid on your heart, like Chris Garcia going to start a mission in Mexico, and I don't speak a word of Spanish. You know, certainly that's not me, God. I don't speak the language. Okay, I created the language. I'll teach it to you. You know, what God wants to accomplish in and through you is not limited by your ability. He provides what is needed. Maybe it's the comfort that you need. And I know we've got a lot of hurting people right now. People that are maybe experiencing loss and grief and going, I can't do this. I can't bear this. And God promises us, in the book of Philippians, the Apostle Paul writes about the peace that passes understanding. That means our human minds can't figure it out. If we could, we wouldn't need God. God gives us a peace that we can't understand, that we can't achieve on our own, because it's not natural, it's supernatural. It comes from Him. And maybe there's something that you're struggling with, some kind of sin, some kind of temptation that you're struggling with, and maybe you're even thinking, well, because of this, I can't really communicate with God. I mean, God doesn't want any part of me because I just can't shake this. And God says, I want to be the strength in that, to give you the ability to stand up under that temptation. Whatever God wants to accomplish in and through you is not limited by your ability.